If we take the nomadic mindset and we start to look at it and from a geopolitical situation or country-wise, is that you need to look at the configuration of countries, and that is that most of the mindsets are settled. And they want to create it settled because that's control, that is taxes, that is power, and all of those particular things. And who are the people that run are people not necessarily nomadic, that's for sure. They are generally settlers or builders, or they usually have that combination of settler-builder. And who do they talk to generally? They usually talk to the settler and to the builder. So if we're talking to builders, they're talking about taxes and getting rid of taxes and building the economy, and so builders will listen to that. Settlers will be, what can you do for me to make my life happier and more stable and more comfortable and whichever. Nomads want to know what you can do with creativity, AI, all of these particular technologies of today. They want to go in that particular realm. And what we see are the problems of the world, and there are many, many today. And if we talk about mindset and things like that with regards to, we need to start to look at where perhaps geopolitically or globally where things are a little bit more stable. I would say that there is a more nomadic thinking in the way business is done, and also because it's more flat instead of very vertical, and that is in Scandinavia. That is where you start to see the growth, and even though it's a socialized countries, is that where you often see the nomads having more exploration, more ideas, more thoughts. So if we take the Brexit situation in the UK, you can debate whether that's nomadic because they want to explore and become less attached to the large system of the EU. But there's a lot of rhetoric which is actually very settler and builder, and a lot settler. And it becomes innuendo of maybe few people's agendas. And I would say that what we have there is going back to colonialism of thinking of power and having their own access to everything in the world. However, that's not what being nomadic is, and that's not really about the world today. It's about creating partnerships, it's about collaboration, it's about all of those things, and that is where we're going if we want to survive. We cannot be insular. We must be able to be expansive and narrow and to be able to move flexibly between both. If we look at China is a top-down, it is communist, it has a very settled mindset. And then again, builder, because they want to build the country, they want to grow. But there's one thing that I didn't talk about, and that is there's strengths of these different mindsets, and there are also shadow sides. And the shadow sides are often the negative pieces which go along with any mindset. And what we see within China, for example, from my perspective, is that you see this incredible control. And the way they do warfare, so to speak, is economic warfare. So it's silent, it's behind, it's underneath, it's through going into countries, and it's taking over through a variety of investments and making other countries beholden to them. So that is a sense of ownership and control. So it's, again, we come back to control. And sure, in nomadic cultures, there is control. However, in a nomadic experience, it is not necessarily about control over one. It's about seeing what are the expansiveness of ideas and possibilities that can happen and find the best one and then go with it. And that is what we do with creating new technology. It's about finding all these things. The United States at the moment, geopolitically, well, dare I say more. And that particular right now is you have a leader who is definitely not nomadic. He's definitely a settler builder and a builder, and maybe on the side of the shadow side, which is a corrupt builder, in my opinion. And what he's talking to is his base, and they keep on talking about the base, and the base are generally from smaller communities. And those smaller communities are interested in keeping their status quo, they're interested in keeping their old jobs that they've had for many, many years, which is not the way of the future. It's not going to happen. So now how many people can tell you that it's not going to happen? So we need to just accept that. Singapore has a vibrance, I think, to it. It's small, it's manageable, but the point is that it wants to be creative, it wants to be innovative, and often it brings in talent from outside that are already creative and innovative. But you have to, how do you build the internal people? And that is changing your systems and changing the way your mindset is as to how you do education, how you allow for free thinking, critical thinking, and allow for creativity to happen. And that is being nomadic, because you need to put less barriers and more freedom of space for those types of thinking. So if Singapore is not willing to do that in its educational system and also its organizations, which are very top-down, a lot of them, and if there isn't this thinking, it's going to get very restrictive and will not be able to compete.